we've had Brexit, that was a big fallout. I think this is regrets it, because clearly it hasn't worked in America. Well, we hear that through the Sun exclusive that Meghan and Harry are coming home, as they say. But I think it's just the start of a calamity, really, that's going to happen for the British royal family. Brexit caused a massive scene. I'd say that we need an apology from Harry, but I don't think we're going to get regrets, as I've called it. I think that he thinks that, if anything, everybody owes him an apology. What I do think will happen now is that they've got a problem, because at the moment, as it stands, the King's only was told about this on Sunday. There's obviously going to be a huge fallout, and I think William's going to have to take up the slack. What does it mean? Does it mean that Harry and William will have two separate royal courts? Will they be clashing? Will the diary dates be clashing? It sounds like a mess to me, and one that I'm sure the King and William will have to try and work it out. So if they only told the King about this on Sunday, at the very best, it's very rude. And my feeling is that the worst is yet to come. They've got to work out an awful lot of issues. The truth of it is that all the King has had is, 3 meetings with his son in 6 years. He's seen the grandkids twice. And now, all of a sudden, he's back. They're going to come back. And, obviously the King has got to say that he wants to naturally welcome the chance to see more of his grandkids and his son and his daughter-in-law. But he's the King. And this is a problem, because it's going to impact upon the monarchy. We have a constitutional monarchy in this country and a parliamentary democracy. All I can see is this going to lead to more people with unfold yellow umbrellas complaining about the monarchy. And I think that we've seen that at Trooping the Colour. We're seeing it more and more around the country, and I think it's going to add to disquiet about the monarchy.
Does this paint Harry's recent visits in a new light?
Yeah, it looks like he was definitely trying to engineer a move back home. But we don't even know how long this is going to be for. They're very volatile, and the trust hasn't really ever been rebuilt. I mean, 6 months before they left, there was filming going on behind the scenes by Harry and Meghan about how broken they were, how terrible their time in this country were. We've had comments from Harry saying, never bring his wife and kids to this country, it's too dangerous. So what's changed? Has there a deal been done about security? If there has, we need to know about it, and we need to know who's paying for it. Andy Burnham, the Prime Minister that was shoehorned in, Andy Burnham's now Prime Minister, he's saying it's a private matter. But, if the public are paying for it, it's not a private matter. So I think that needs to be ironed out. They can't keep doing these secret whisper WhatsApp groups. We're told, the palace is saying that Harry is coming back, but there's going to be no half in, half out. But that's just a whisper. That this should be stated clearly on Buckingham Palace note paper that the Queen's deal stands. Otherwise, these things can be changed and Harry can inveigle his way back in. The reality is, if he's going to commercialise the royal family, there is no place for him in a constitutional monarchy. My feeling is, long term, I believe that he feels that he's probably financially better off with his security paid for by the government, i.e. that's £4 million off or pounds off his bill. And if he does a bit of work for the royal family, that's fine, but he might not include Meghan in that deal. The reality is, if he comes back also, if anything happens to the King, it's harder for William to sort of just say, you're no longer a member of the royal family working for us. Look, he's not done anything like, he's not embarrassed the royal family by having an association with Jeffrey Epstein, like Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. He decided he wanted a bit of freedom. Royals in the past have done that. Sophie and Edward did that. They did commercial enterprises. It didn't work out for them, so they came back and threw themselves into royal duty.
Harry and Meghan's return to Britain could be much bigger than simply coming home. After years of distance, the Sussexes are preparing to spend far more time in the UK with their children. And that means the physical distance separating them from the royal family is disappearing. But will being closer actually bring the family together? Or could it reopen old wounds? The biggest question may be Prince William. Harry's relationship with his brother has remained deeply strained.
Maybe that's what's on Harry's mind. We're told not, but things keep changing every 5 minutes. Well, it certainly looks like the Brexit deal they wanted in the first place is being pushed forward, because if they come to Britain and they continue their commercial enterprises, then of course they're operating a commercial court, and that is trading on the proximity that they have to the royal family. That's where they made all their money. They didn't make their money through original ideas. They made all their money by selling out the royal family, betraying trust, and betraying the relationship with their brother and his relationship with his brother and his father. Now, first of all, there needs to be an apology to say he regrets what's happened, and also for labelling the royal family racist. That's not been a great thing. That really upset the apple cart. My personal belief is, though, that this is Harry forcing his way back into the royal fold. He will he'll want to carry out royal duties. That way he'll get money. That way he'll get his security detail. That way his family will be protected. I think that clearly there's changes afoot at Charles's court. You've got Sir Clive Alderton, who was called the Wasp in Harry's memoir Spare. He's on his way out. There's Bernie Flannery that I revealed was leaving, his long-term butler, the man that would have had to take the calls from Harry and said, oh, the King's not available. Look, I think there's changes afoot, and that will probably smooth the path in a way for Harry. But Harry's got to decide what he wants to be and what he wants to do. The one thing that still stands is you can't commercialise the royal family, because that's an existential threat to the institution and what the institution stands for. I think it's a real difficult position for Kate and William. I think that they must be wondering what on earth's going on. I know that when they did that talk, moment after the Queen died, they went and talked to mourners and outside Windsor. Catherine described it to a member of the royal family as one of the hardest things she's ever had to do. Well, it looks like there's going to be more of those hard things to do further down the line. What happens at Christmas? What happens at other occasions, Trooping the Colour and things? If Harry gets invited back in, do his kids get to go on the balcony? They are, after all, in line to the throne quite high up, much more higher up in the line to the throne than many of the other people that appear on that balcony. So I feel that they've got a problem going forward. The King's going to have to sort it out as quickly as possible. He can't leave this one a mess for William to clear up when it's his.
And living in the same country could make avoiding each other much harder. Every royal event, family gathering, or public appearance could become a media storm. Even a simple photograph of the brothers together, or apart, could dominate headlines. For King Charles, however, this could be an opportunity. Having Harry, Archie, and Lilibet closer could allow him to rebuild relationships that have suffered from years of separation. But rebuilding trust is very different from simply living nearby. And Meghan's return to Britain could add another layer of attention.
To be king. The big moment we're going to see optically is what happens at Christmas. I think if we see them all together at Christmas, then the rift is not healed, but there's obviously a push towards trying to achieve a more optically better look for the royal family, which is something the King would prefer his reign to have. But this, don't make no mistake, this is a crown divided. And this is a move, if anything, has made that division more obvious. There's no question that them being on the other side of the pond, and in fact, not only on the other side of the pond, right the other side of America, made it a lot easier for them to be forgotten about. But Harry and Meghan are not into being forgotten about. Their actual attempts, a foray into being Hollywood superstars and makers, and, people that are movers and shakers in that world, has failed miserably. So they've come back here where they're in closer proximity to the royal family, and being in close proximity to the royal family is their main currency. I think the King has to make a statement. I think that it's no good whispering or WhatsApping to the royal rota groups about what's happening. I mean, the Buckingham Palace headed paper to say the Queen's deal, the Sandringham Summit deal, stands. No taxpayers' money will be spent on this couple, and he is not a working royal. Those three things, they're private people. Those things have to be stated for the record, on the record, not whispered so it can be changed, not guidance so it can say, well, I can't remember saying that, but on headed note paper saying this is the deal. I don't think a sort of sides or anything like that, or them being seen in public or standing on a balcony is good enough. Not only did he insult the King and Camilla and William and broke their trust, he also broke trust with the British people. I don't speak for all of the British people, but I think that a lot of people were quite upset at his accusations of Britain being an unsafe country. Not able to bring his children to this country when he was living in America, where people carry guns and routinely. I don't think it was people were overly impressed with the whole racism row either, and the attack on the country. He was talking about how, almost in terms about how wonderful his freedom flight was, as if we were all trapped in a dated, class-ridden society that is racist. I think the people that we are going to end up paying any bills need an apology, as well as the King, William and Camilla. I would prefer it to be a public apology. I think it should be. I think that Harry should address the situation. I think the palace should address the situation instead of just wandering around in whispers and WhatsApp messages. This is a big issue. The Queen, you know, the late Queen, when she issued a statement, it was issued a statement from Buckingham Palace. If this is in any way changing, the people need to know about it, because I don't think the people are as happy to accept the homecoming as Harry and Meghan seem to think they would be.
Especially if she expands her professional activities there. The real danger for the royal family may not be Harry and Meghan themselves. It could be the constant attention surrounding them. Every meeting, disagreement, invitation, or lack of one could become another royal headline. So is this really the beginning of reconciliation? Or are we watching the setup for another major royal family crisis? Because after years of silence and distance, Harry and Meghan are now moving closer to the people they once walked away from. And the next time Harry and William are forced into the same room, the entire world will be watching. What do you think? Reconciliation or another royal crisis? Let me know in the comments, and subscribe for the next chapter.